Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Collaboration Culture Podcast. I am your host, Kimberly Winborne, and today I am joined by an amazing woman who I adore. I met years ago, but then reconnected on a deeper level last year when she joined the Praying CEO and also began to show up in spaces where I was, and we just immediately were able to get synergized on a deeper level. And so I'm so excited to have her with me this morning. For those of you who are watching on LinkedIn, good morning. Please feel free to share. We're going to have a conversation around business, and this woman has a wonderful business, a nonprofit that we're going to learn more about. For those who are on Facebook or Instagram, please share it out so that we can get a good audience, because this mission and vision that she is carrying in her heart to share with the world is something that more people need to know about. So if you don't mind, if you're a parent, a grandparent, make sure to go ahead and share this out, because this is going to be a great resource for you. So Miss Genita is the founder of BAGS, and that is an acronym for Being a Grandparent Support. This is an organization with a mission to empower and uplift grandparents who are navigating the challenges of raising grandchildren or experiencing estrangement. And so Miss Genita and her team provide resources, connections, education, and a supportive community with a goal to rebuild the village that it takes to raise a child. Anybody ever heard that saying? It takes a village. And many of us say that about our times today when we see these children out here in the street just cutting up, right? Doing all types of stuff. We say, oh, if somebody had blah, 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 it takes a village, don't we? And I remember being influenced by the village that it took to raise me, the village that I know that it's taking to raise my daughter. And so for many of you, you understand that. And so let's find out more about Miss Genita Spencer as we bring her up, this colorful, vibrant woman who is on a mission to impact the lives of so many. Let's bring her up. Good morning, Miss Genita. Oh, let's make sure you're unmuted. Okay, there you go. We can hear you now. How are you this morning?
I'm doing wonderful, and I am so honored and so pleased that you invited me to come and speak with you today.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I gave a little introduction about you, but I want to give you the opportunity to share who you are, even in your own words.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, who I am is a woman of colors.
Okay.
People will say, oh my goodness, what in the world do you have on that jacket? Well, this jacket is not only representing the nonprofit BAGS, being a grandparent support, but there's a saying that when you're proud of something, you make sure that it shines. And I'm very proud of BAGS. But as far as me, my history basically is that I've always been with family and children, from Head Start program director to all the way to being on stage. What do I mean by being on stage? Many of you a couple of months ago saw me probably with Jermaine's Cherry Dreamcast production called Church Folks. No more secrets. And the thing that's so ionic about that, Kimberly, is that in 2015, when Jermaine brought me on stage, my character was Mom Mabel. I was a grandparent, estranged
Oh,
from
wow.
my daughter in the
Mhm.
production. And then he brought me back again to do another version of that series. And I was a grandparent raising my grandchild
Hmm.
because my daughter was an addiction to drugs. Never knew BAGS was going to come. So for me,
Wow.
when COVID hit, just like everybody else, I had been through a situation where I wanted to be a grandparent. And my daughter had several miscarriages. And so we never thought we would be. And then when it happened, I had two grandsons, very young, COVID hit, and I couldn't see
Mhm.
them. So for me, being a grandparent and understanding from being a foster parent for 14 years for Wake County as well. I did that. I understood what it meant when I started talking to grandparents raising grandchildren.
Yeah. And so your story overlapped with Jermaine and Shakia Cherry's production in many ways and birthed something that you are doing now. And so being a grandparent support, can you let us know when was that founded and just a little bit more about it from a mission and vision? I know I touched on it, but from a mission and vision perspective, if I'm a grandparent and I'm raising my grandchildren now, what can I get from your support and your services?
Well, basically, to answer your question from the beginning, it started in 2020 during
Mm-hmm.
the COVID, and it was because I wanted to get with other grandparents who were missing their grandchildren.
Right.
It started with 8, and within 6 months, it was over 80 grandparents from different states, and it was a private group, so they were inviting each other in. That's when
Mm-hmm.
I began to learn and understand that grandparents were getting their grandchildren due to death, due to divorce, due to other situations, but also those that were estranged due to not getting along with their family. So
Mm-hmm.
in 3 years ago, we became a 501c3 nonprofit. So we could collaborate and provide, and there's that thing, collaborate with other organizations, other partnerships, and other kinship programs. Now, some say, why do you do just grandparents? Let me say this, Kimberly.
Mm-hmm.
Aunts and uncles and cousins. In North Carolina, there's 237,000 children in kinship care based on U.S. statistics, the Bureau of U.S. Statistics. There are 87,000 grandparents now raising their grandchildren. Okay,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
87. The foster care system has gotten, just in Wake County, 500 children in foster care. And one of the things that when I started looking at what is it that grandparents needs, when we start going out, because we are information, resources, connection, but 3 years ago, we took on advocacy for change and
Okay.
collaboration. Okay. We want to make change because grandparents are culture, but grandparents have two hurts: the pain of their child for whatever the situation is as an adult who can't take care of their grandchildren, and the pain of the grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
And so we know that a lot of them said to me, Miss Genita, we don't know where to start. We don't know where to go. We're needing food, clothing. We are having housing situation. To be a grandparent at 65 and you're that night before, you're planning your grocery list, you're planning to go to the beach with your friends on the weekend. And then at 3 a.m. in the morning, you get a knock on the door. And when you open that door, there's someone standing there with three little ones, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 6-year-old, and says, I'm sorry, ma'am, but we were told from a neighbor that you're the grandparent. And unfortunately, we had to take your daughter in.
Yeah.
You got two choices. We're going to ask you to take your grandchild or grandchildren, or they go to foster care. Now, you live in a 1-bedroom apartment. And so you take them in, because you do not want your grandchildren going to foster care. You want to keep
Mm-hmm.
that culture alive. So bags
Yeah.
bring to the culture collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
But any grandparent that's looking for help, that don't know where to start, that newly is awarded their grandchildren, bagsgoodlife.org is where they begin. And we reach out and connect you with those resources. But again, we are now advocating for change. It's time for change.
Mm-hmm. So with that, like when you just told I had such a visual when you were talking about that, like somebody knocking on the door, the police or what have you, knocking on the door and bringing a child and or saying, we heard that you're the grandparent. This unfortunate thing has occurred, blah blah blah. How much do your resources help when there is a grandparent who, and you talked about collaboration, you could give us just a couple of examples of when you do have a grandparent that's like, I am living in a 1-bedroom apartment and I can't do this. To your point, you help them with resources. Do you have a story, without, of course, sharing the name of the family, of a family you were able to help that had that exact situation, and some collaborative partners you were able to link with to make sure that that grandparent could keep those children?
Yes, we're steady evolving. In fact, we have a campaign that's getting ready to start called
Mhm.
Bags Emergency Navigation Program,
Yeah.
because we know that children and grandparents need stability. But when a grandparent called us, for example, we had one that relocated to North Carolina. Her son was killed, and she
Mm.
got her grandchildren, and she relocated here for whatever reason. We don't ask, we don't judge. It's a non-judgmental zone, and we don't dig. And she said, "I need beds. I need a bed because all I have is just mats for my granddaughter." And so
Mhm.
we were able to collaborate with the foster closet of Wake County, who sent out a need for action. And when they
Mhm.
sent it out, she was able to get that bed in 2 weeks. Then during
Oh,
the
wow.
times when food stamps stopped, if you all remember, there was a situation where they shut food stamps down for a while. We had
Mhm.
grandparents calling us saying that they could not find anything to eat or they were not eligible for food stamps. And we have over 60% of grandparents get no governmental support. And
Mhm.
so what we did, we had an intern, very fortunately, who started calling them based on the locations they live, and we Johnston, Wake County, Cumberland County, anywhere, and started letting them know where the churches were, where the
Mhm.
food banks were, and for those that could not get there, found the transportation to get the food and stuff to them. Our rural areas are our hardest hit. And so in some areas, like in Johnston, they have blessing boxes where people can put food in and you can go get them. But one of the biggest things that really got me was a grandparent who had 8 grandchildren. And when
Wow.
we went to see her, she said, "I get food stamps. I get $200." I said, "For 8 grandchildren, honey? What in
Woo.
the
That's a
world?"
stretch. Woo.
And what happens is she did get governmental support, but they counted her Social Security, they counted her pension, a set of twins that she had. The mother had died, and she had a small death benefit check. Two of the teen children worked at McDonald's. So when all that was counted as household income, she only qualified for $200 in food stamps.
Oh my
And so
God.
we connected her with other organizations that provided food ongoing.
Mhm.
So that's kind of thing. Food and clothes are at the top of the list, but housing is becoming a major problem. And in
Yeah.
2003, there was the Housing Act that was passed that's been going on for grandfamilies. And I'm hoping to get that in North Carolina soon.
That would be awesome. What a powerful story. And I'm sure she was grateful. That grandmother was grateful. A lot of times when we think of taking on the responsibility of taking care of our grandchildren, well, for those who have grandchildren, taking on that responsibility, or even an aunt taking on the responsibility of their niece or nephew or what have you. Can you let me know? I know your focus is grandparents, but if you have somebody like that, like an aunt or a sister or somebody who just ends up getting custody without being prepared or having the resources, do you support in any way in that capacity, or is it just grandparents?
We actually collaborate with kinship care grandfamilies. That's the
Mm-hmm.
umbrella title for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And so in Wake County, we collaborate with KIA program. That's a
Mm-hmm.
program that's informal. You'll hear the terminology informal and formal. Formal are those individuals that went through DSS or the court system and receive and get support that way when the children are awarded. But majority of aunts, uncles, and grandparents are informal. So there are programs out there. That's what BAGS is, information and resources for grandparents. However, some of those same resources, the youth programs, the
Yeah.
therapists, the counselors, also work in general with aunts, uncles, and cousins. So, yes,
Yeah.
we do refer them to those programs. We just do our funding and our funding resources directed to grandparents.
Thank you. Okay, awesome. And I love a niche. I think a lot of times we can spread ourselves too thin when we have hearts and of compassion and empathy to try to help so many people. So I'm glad that you have partners that you can work with to help others as well who end up in that situation. Because to your point, and what you have with lived experience from those who you work with, and then yourself, it can happen to anyone, where we end up having to take care of our niece, our nephew, our grandchild, or what have you, and we didn't plan that. And so you made some great points about insurance and, different things like that. When you talked about that grandmother who was unable to get some of the resources because of all of that, and how you've helped her to overcome some of those things, do you at all partner with people after the fact, such as financial literacy, or such as providing financial literacy and workshops and things like that, to help a grandmother or grandfather, grandparent get those tools and resources? Because now that they're a little older, it's going to be a bit more expensive, all of those things. So how are you tackling, if at all, that particular problem? And if not, is that a way that we can potentially help you to build other collaborations?
Yes, we are constantly looking for partners, and we're constantly looking for collaboration because it still takes a village to raise a child. And you
Mm-hmm.
remember Wake County had the thing about no child left behind. Well, we're no family left behind. And
Yes.
so there are resources that we work with, like Positive Child Alliance. I am with a Champion Institute now who are trying to get changes at the political level to make sure that we can put together a navigation program. There are only a few navigation programs that are federal supported. And so we are trying to make some changes there. But for the
Mm-hmm.
grandparent, most of them are 60% are over the age 60 and 70. So they do have the challenge of navigating technology.
Yeah.
And so
Mm-hmm.
on our website, we do have a group called Senior Technology Support. But the main thing is that we need navigators, we need partners, we need individuals who are willing to roll up their sleeves and volunteer. But when we do direct services to go out and deliver, we've done the meal train. I don't know if you're familiar
Mm-hmm.
with that. When a
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
grandparent has gone into the hospital or doctor, and you take on either making a meal or purchasing a meal to deliver to a family. We need volunteers. We do an annual gala to raise emergency funds. And now we're trying to raise emergency starter kit items, which are
Mm-hmm.
clothes, hygiene items, school supplies, and for toddlers, bottles, cups, and those types of things. We're going to put together what we call a duffel bag, because one thing that I've seen, and I do work for Wake County, is that when children are brought in, some of them have garbage bags with their stuff in it. And even some of them have grocery bags with just a few items. But imagine a grandparent who got a grandchild coming through the door, standing there with nothing. And they're
Mm-hmm.
able to call bags and say, hey, I understand that you have something called a starter emergency kit, and
Mm-hmm.
delivered to them is this duffel bag with 2 or 3 pieces of
Yeah.
clothing, hygiene, comb, brush, soap, and school supplies at their school age. That is
Mm-hmm.
the stability of calming for just a few moments when you're already in the trenches of a situation while you're
Yeah.
transitioning to prepare.
Oh, wow. For those who have just joined, good morning. My name is Kimberly Winborne. I'm the host of the Collaboration Culture podcast under Coffee and Collaborations Media. But I want to mention this at this point of the conversation. I'm also the executive director of a nonprofit called Seasons Village, who partner with single mothers and their children. The reason I want to mention that right there is because we had Miss Genita to come in a couple weeks ago to share about bags with our mothers. And we believe in giving back. So our mothers who are about to leave the program will be choosing organizations that they will give back to, whether it's volunteerism, whether it's fundraising, creating new projects or things that they have in mind that could potentially help their bottom line. And so Miss Genita came and shared about her bags. And that is one of the organizations. I haven't had a chance to tell you because I was going to wait to this to tell you, Miss Genita, that the moms have chosen your organization to be one of the organizations they support. And they want to, yes, it's very exciting. And they want to support the gala, which you have coming up in whatever capacity is needed. So at this moment, that will transition us along with the excitement that they're going to be working with you. Share with us about the gala, the date, and the whole reason for it, and any goals that you have aligned with it.
Phenomenal. Yes, yes, yes. We are getting ready to have our annual gala. And I'm so excited because this year's we're doing bags 2006 Joyful Noise Gospel Gala. Yeah, extravaganza. Yes, we're
Mhm.
so excited. We are raising funds and we do it annually for emergency situation. And that starter kit for which I just told you about is where some of the funds will go to. So children don't have to have a garbage bag, but a beautiful duffel bag with some clothes and supplies. This is going to be on Saturday, September the 26th. And September is National Grandparent Month for you all who didn't know. So get ready to take grandma out or grandparent out that month. But it'll be at Saturday, September 26th at Vision RU, RUD Church at
Or do
50,
you?
yes, RDU at 5808 Departure Drive. And it's going to be a phenomenal. We have a phenomenal featuring Kim Pearson, who is a 5-time Stella nominee gospel singer. And she was actually raised by her grandparent, how she got started in the gospel field. We also have Renewed Quartet. We have Mimes. We have, oh, it's going to be good. You don't want to miss it. And ticket sales will start in June at bagsgoodlife.org. But we're also looking for sponsorship. If your organization, and our sponsorship package range from $250, but we're looking for that top sponsor, 5,000, you need to check out bagsgoodlife.org. We are so excited. We're also looking for volunteers, which Kimberly, that's why I'm so excited, because it takes a village to do a gala, honey. It
Yes.
does. To greet people, to help set up, because this particular venue, we're going to need to put out tables, we need to put out centerpieces, we're going to need volunteers. But you can volunteer for bags anytime. If you go on our website and click get involved, we need admins, we need those that are do flyers, media, we need individuals like you in our village.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. So she just mentioned the website. You can get plugged in, social media, and it's scrolling across the bottom of the screen. So hopefully you can gather that information. And I just want to share, I am very excited. And right now you will see information on Seasons Village. As I mentioned, where I'm the executive director. So if you would like to get plugged in and or help those single mothers to support Miss Genita and the other nonprofits that they're going to be choosing, they're also going to start doing these what in the schools is called backpack buddies, but they're taking them to another level. And this is an opportunity that they also thought would be able to help you, Miss Genita, with some of the work that you're doing with the grandparents. And so they're going to take those backpack buddies to the next level. So if you would like to support our mothers here at Seasons Village, these are single mothers who are returning to school. They are making 60% or below the area median income for Wake County. So a lot of our mothers, even in their challenges, are have a heart to give back. And we want to make sure that we teach them if they don't have that heart to give back. And so that's a little bit of information on Seasons Village. You can plug in to our project with those mothers going to be giving back to organizations like Miss Genita's. All right. And so make sure to plug into both. Lastly, Miss Genita, Miss Colorful Genita, who's always vibrant in her blazers. And, you know, today she has on her blazer that's branded with all the bags stuff. Every time I see her, she has on something very vibrant. And with that being said, we wanted that vibrant energy in the Praying CEO. So for those of you who know as well, I am this founder, visionary of a group of women called the Praying CEO, and it's basically CEOs and aspiring who wish to first give God the glory in everything that they do, right? And so Miss Genita became a member last July. And so I want to ask Miss Genita as we close out, what is the reason why you joined the Praying CEO? And is that something that you feel is significant to your day-to-day in life, to put God first at the helm of your business? And do you feel like you're succeeding with the work that you're doing in the community?
I do. I joined the Praying CEO because every business woman, be it a woman in ministry, nonprofit, business owner, needs a village as well, and others to collaborate who understand what they're going through in order to stay strong.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing keeping you stronger than prayer And that's why the praying CEO really, really resonated with me, because this is hard work, everybody. It is
Mhm.
not easy. Any businesswoman, anything that do, you go to God, but it's nothing like having some prayer warriors with you to
Yeah.
support you. And that's why I found for Kimberly, this is so phenomenal, because so many business owners are really isolated. They don't know where to turn when they get to that point. But when you turn to God and you turn to others who understand, you can make it. God creates a village for you. You just have to step out there and use that village and
Yeah.
collaborate. I do think that being with you all and having prayer has made me be able to endure, to serve the
Mhm.
purpose for whom I am here for. What I do with bags is to glorify Him and to serve His children. And that's what we
Yes.
all do. We are here for God's purpose. And so I encourage you, if you are an entrepreneur, businesswoman who are just starting, or you've been there and almost on the edge of being burnt out, please check out the Praying She. Please do.
Yes. Thank you. And we, like I said, are so happy to have you be a part of the Praying CEO. A little bit of information on the Praying CEO is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at the Praying CEO, and LinkedIn as well, the Praying CEO. And so if you're a woman in business looking for a village that can support you, like Miss Genita just said, and you believe that putting God first at the helm is that tool and that resource and that guide that you need, and you want a group of like-minded women who are tracking exactly the same, please join us at the Praying CEO. We pray every morning at 7:30 together in our group, the Praying CEO on Facebook. And so we have to close, but we're going to close out with shouting out Miss Genita one more time. Is there anything that you want to say as we close out, Miss Genita?
I do. I do. It's a call to action.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling you all to action, for sponsorship, partnership, but most of all for the village. Let no family be left behind, be it a single mom or a grandparent raising their grandchildren. We've always done this since slavery. We've always taken in children. We've raised them as our own. Let's bring the village back. We can do it.
Love it. Thank you so much. Hopefully, you all enjoyed hearing a little bit more about Miss Genita and the Being a Grandparent Support, aka BAGS nonprofit. Please plug in and see if you can be a resource in some capacity, whether it's time, talent, or treasure. Make sure to reach out. And I thank you again, Miss Genita, for
Thank you,
joining
Kimberly.
me. Don't move, don't go anywhere. All right. So we are going to close out. I want to remind you that this is the Collaboration Culture Podcast with Coffee and Collaborations Media. This is our 8th year in existence, Coffee and Collaboration. So we're celebrating, and we're celebrating big with the return of this podcast, but also pay attention, stay close, and watch out for some other returns of, we'll see. Just follow. Don't go anywhere. Follow Coffee and Collaborations Media and the Collaboration Culture Podcast, and other announcements will come right from this seat. Okay. So thank you for joining. Information is at the bottom on Coffee and Collaborations. Stay plugged in. And we thank you for joining us on this Monday for 30 minutes of powerful people, learning about powerful people in the community who are doing powerful things in collaboration, to make a difference and an impact in this world. Okay. Thank you for joining. You all have a great rest of your day. See you next time.